Right, hello ladies and gentlemen, how are we all doing? Are we having a good weekend? I'll tell you something else that is having a good weekend. It seems the Batman is actually having a really good weekend. Cumulatively, across both domestic and overseas, it would have already hit its production budget. Not the marketing budget. It's important to discern the difference. Production budget, the $200 million that's reported, because we don't know if that is the case in fairness, but the $200 million production budget, it has been hit across worldwide, or should be. Anyway, we don't have the exact figures yet, but the projections are normally all right, especially at this late stage. You know, on a Sunday, we can normally tell. So, will it make profit? Yeah, I think this movie should be pretty decent enough to turn a profit. Let's dive into it, ladies and gents. Like I said, I hope you're having a great weekend. If you are, hit that thumbs up button. Just a good way to get you to hit the thumbs up button. Yeah, let's have a look, shall we, ladies and gents? So, this is actually a report courtesy of Deadline. So, Deadline, the Batman signals another big return to movie-going post-Spider-Man with 120 million plus opening weekend. They keep banging on about this, you know, COVID and all this utter nonsense. It's trivial at this stage. We can't keep blaming COVID. It's not something to blame for movies not earning money. It's that the movies are shit. And I'll be really intrigued to see what the next scapegoat is from studios and mainstream media. But here we go. So, a Saturday AM update. As movie theatres continue to pine for a rebound after being closed in 2020, 2021, and desire more moolah post Spider-Man No Way Home, the domestic opening for Warner Brothers' 9th Batman movie, which is crazy to think of you. 9 Batman movies, wow. Is nothing to complain about with 120 million opening weekend. Now again, this is not concrete. This is literally, you know, this is what we think it's going to achieve. It'll probably hit more than that. Or maybe a little bit less. We don't know. This is after a $57 million Friday. That's not bad. For a Friday, $57 million? I'm aware some people were able to watch this in the States on Wednesday, if I remember rightly. Now, that's an improvement on the early evening estimate. The overall box office for all titles is looking to clock 163.7 million from last weekend, and even better, 41% from the first weekend on March 2019. So, rivals are seeing Batman slightly higher, but it boils down to walk-up business today. But also had a really good cinema score of A-, which, you know, the layman's not going to care about that. They don't give a shit about A- cinema scores. They honestly don't care. Cinema scores are not important to them. Anecdotally, the audience I saw it with on Wednesday night at the AMC Century City was transfixed. A colleague remarked how director Matt Reeves' hand here is very similar to David Fincher when it comes to embracing thriller. Now, I will say, like, when I saw it in IMAX on Thursday night, it was packed. The IMAX theatre was packed. Absolutely packed, and people were really focused on this film. People were really, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. Now, like I say, the other important part of this, so they think ultimately this is going to do 120 plus million dollars stateside alone. That's what they think anyway. But it is already hitting 110 plus million dollars overseas. Right? So $200 million budget, $110 million overseas, plus $120 plus million domestic. Warner Brothers are going to be really happy with this. Really happy. So here we have, we brought you an update on the Batman's domestic box office performance earlier, but Deadline has now shared an update on its international performance, with 74 overseas markets now open. Matt Reeves' DC Comics adaptation grossed $54 million through Friday, for an estimated $110 plus million haul by the end of the weekend. The global total, as of yesterday, was $111 million, and it should finish well north of $200 million by close of business tomorrow. It will be Monday when we have some concrete figures, which, I mean, that is just the truth, yeah. Interestingly enough, they note the UK here. I mean, I can talk from experience. I was there. So in the UK, the Batman opened to $4.8 million, which doesn't sound like a lot. But sorry, that's $4.8 million pounds, which is $6.4 million. Because, yeah, pounds worth more to the dollar, I guess. For the second highest opening during the pandemic era, which is good. Needless to say, it should be interesting keeping an eye on the movie's performance over the coming weeks, especially with no major competition on the horizon. I mean, there is literally nothing coming out. You know what is coming out, which, you know, people are wrongfully thinking that it will be competition for it? I mean, it's Morbius. Sure, I guess. Sure, I mean, it's not really competition for it, is it? You know, let's be honest here. Jared Leto coming out doing vampire stuff in Morbius, not a huge detractor. The only way that's going to be a detractor, ladies and gents, is people getting duped into watching it because of Venom, if they really liked Venom 2 anyway, and then of course Spider-Man. But I don't think they're going to care too much about Morbius. I could be wrong ultimately, but I don't think that there's much really competing with the Batman at this stage at all, in fact. Now, I'll just repeat this again because I think it's important to labour the point here. North American moviegoers have been awarded the Batman an awesome A- cinema score. I don't think people really care. Like, you know, we talk about this stuff here, you know, on our small corner of the internet. We talk about cinema scores. We talk about Rotten Tomatoes. But I really don't think people, the layman, is going to talk to Bob down the street. They're not going to be Googling, what's the cinema score? What's Rotten Tomatoes say? They're going to go, hey, buddy, I heard you went to watch that Batman. What do you think about it? That's word of mouth for the layman, the normal, average moviegoer. Cinema score, I personally don't think it really means too much, to be honest. Not to the average moviegoer, anyway. But coming back here to this Deadline article, because I think there's something fun in this. There's always some fun snippets in here. You know, they start talking about, you know, the COVID shutdown and stuff like that. Warner Media is doing it right, similar to other movie IPs on streaming services. They have Reeves expanding Batman universe with an upcoming Penguin. This talk of sequels and expanded universes and more has really ramped up. Really ramped up, in fact. On the lead up to its release, about 2 weeks before it released, people were absolutely slamming out this commentary of sequels. Matt Reeves especially was talking about sequels. Robert Pattinson was game for doing a trilogy. Apparently, there was so much more conversation surrounding it, so much more discussion on the Penguin sequels. So I think, you know, they know that this is good. They're happy with these quantities. And will we get a sequel? Yeah, probably. It'd be very unlikely to not get a sequel now at this stage. After such great investment. So this movie's doing really well, all things considered. It's doing really well. It'll be intriguing to see what the staying power is, but like I say, what's coming out that's going to battle it? Morbius? Forget about it. Like, that's not competition for this film. It's just not competition. So it'll be intriguing to see the staying power of this film. This is a film which I personally want to go watch again, because it is so long, but not in like this is so long. It's long. There's a lot to take in. There's a lot of references. One, at the end, I bet you guys didn't catch, not a spoiler, but a lot of the sort of grand finale happened on the 5th of November, which a lot of people seem to have missed, or, if you're in the States, a lot of you don't understand that reference. Side note, read a history book. So I'll be watching this movie again, and I think a lot of people will as well, because there's a lot to take in. So what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. If you're new here, do hit subscribe, turn the bell notifications on. Check you're subscribed if you're a returning subscriber. Thank you all so much, guys. Have a great Sunday. Take care.